Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to today's practice. A few props that will be handy for today if you have a hard block, also just keeping one near the top of your mat, just in case you need it later on. And then we will work from the knees a little bit, so have some kind of padding around. It can be a soft block, or if you prefer to use a blanket, anything like that, then go for it. As you do feel ready, I'll invite you to get started lying down on the back. If there's somewhere else you'd rather start your practice, then go for it. Otherwise, make your way down and find any version of a Shavasana-like shape. And take your time to get comfortable. You can adjust anything you need to. If it feels good to have the legs extended, then go for it. If you'd rather bend the knees or butterfly the legs or anything like that, find the arm expression that feels comfortable. And take a moment to settle the shoulders, the hips. Maybe give the head a gentle rock, settle that in as well. And then if it feels okay to close down your eyes, go for it. Otherwise, maybe a soft gaze towards the ceiling. And as you do settle in, take a deep inhale through the nose. Noisy sigh. And again, like that, full inhale. And let it go. Last one. And then returning to your natural breath. Find your quiet, find your stillness here. Gently bring your attention to your breath and invite the breath to start to deepen here. And bring your attention to your body and take a scan from the feet to the head and check in, see what everything feels like. And bring your attention to your headspace and check in to see what your mental landscape looks like today. And informed by your breath and your body and your headspace, Please choose whatever you need for your practice today. You can modify anything you like. You can add on and build on. You can quiet things down. And please make the practice whatever would benefit you the most. And when you do feel ready to move the body again, give the head just a gentle rock side to side. And then wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes. Pulse the ankles and rotate the wrists. And from here, reach the arms all the way overhead. Find a full body stretch. Make sure that you have enough room. And then keeping the arms up overhead, walk the hands towards the top right corner of the mat. And then walk the feet towards the bottom right corner of the mat. You can stay here. You can cross left hand over right, left ankle over right. You can also bend the elbows or turn the head a little bit. And keep the pelvis heavy and breathe into that stretch of the whole left side of the body. And when you're ready with an inhale, slowly walk everything back to center. And then arms and then legs over to the left side of the mat. Notice if this side feels different, feel free to change up your expression. As you're ready, settle in and breathe into that whole right side. And slowly with an inhale, walking everything back to center. And from here, collect the knees into your chest and hug the knees in. Give yourself a rock side to side. And from here, take a knee in each hand and circle the knees in opposite directions. And take a few big circles and use this to check in with the hips and see what they feel like here. Are there any sticky spots you want to be aware of? When you're ready, you can change direction. And bring the knees back in and then separate them to reach through. You can catch hold of ankles, feet, or shins for happy baby. And don't worry too much about where the feet are pointing. It's still early in practice, so they can be pointing kind of out in front of you or up towards the ceiling. If it feels okay to give yourself a rock side to side, go for it. And without necessarily pulling with the arms, use the weight of the arms to deepen the stretch wherever you're feeling it. And settle in and take a few deep breaths here. Especially when we do this pose earlier in practice, stay mindful of the low back, and if the pelvis is lifted high up off the floor, you might choose to prioritize lowering the feet if that helps you keep the pelvis grounded. Awesome, and then collect the knees back into the chest. Bring the hands behind the knees and start to rock up and down the length of the spine a couple times to build up momentum. And then as you feel ready to, come up to find a comfortable seated position and cross-legged if that works for you. If you want to sit up off of something, go for it. And take the hands to the knees and then start to rotate the spine in a counterclockwise direction. You might stay relatively upright for this, or if you like to start to exaggerate the motion, maybe get a little more of the spine in, maybe the neck, the head even. You can make the circles as large as you like and take each circle with one round of breath, so one full inhale and exhale. The next time you exhale, wherever you are in your circles, take a brief pause. And with the next inhale, slowly start to rotate the opposite direction. This side may feel a little different, so take it slow, add on as you feel ready. The last few rounds. And then as you're ready, you slow down your circles once again, coming back into center. And from here, we'll swing the legs around and come to find a tabletop position. Awesome. From your tabletop position, we'll extend the left leg, or the right leg, sorry, straight behind. And then take the right foot over to the bottom left corner of the mat, so slightly over to the side. And then with your right hand, start to walk that hand forward, and then take that hand over to the left side as well. And then from here, to help out with balance, you can bend that left elbow, maybe even lower it to the floor. You can let the head hang heavy. And from here, if you're feeling stable, you might have room to walk the hand a little further to the left. You can take the foot a little further to the left, and then find that stretch through the whole right side of the body. Exiting the way we came in, so slowly start to walk that right hand back, and lift on to the left, and then walk that right foot back to center. Now we'll stay here with the right leg extended, but kickstand that left foot over to the left, and then lower the right heel to the floor. Left hand comes to center. So setting up a side plank position, right hand can find the hip or up towards the ceiling. And then from here, check in with that left hand, grip the finger pads into the floor to create some stability, and then maybe even a slight external rotation. So imagine giving your chest a little more room here. Regardless of what the right arm is doing, focus on the right foot for a moment, and we'll play with lifting the leg. So flex the foot like you're trying to stomp it away. With an inhale breath, lift the right leg any amount. And as you exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Last few. Last two. And once you finish your last one, let the foot touch down. Now ground down with the left knee, lift yourself up here. Now if the knee feels sensitive, please pat it. And then from here, right hand to the right hip, reach the left arm up, stretch. And as you exhale, arc over towards the right. Left arm can stay extended. If it feels better to bend the elbow, go for it. And then breathe into that stretch through the whole left side of the body. Inhale breath to lift yourself up. And from here, bring the hands down to the floor just in front of you. Now make sure that you have space. If you need to move around a little bit, go for it. And from here, now we'll play with lifting that right leg once again. And take a moment to really ground down, especially the right hand and the left knee, and then flex the foot like you're stomping. When you're ready, you lift it up. And you might need to shift your weight a little bit over to the side, but just mindful of how far you're going. If you're all the way over here, then maybe you choose to bend the right knee instead, if that helps with the intensity. Now, the whole body is working hard, but see if there's anything that can soften a little here. Maybe it's the forehead or the jaw. And stay here for up to 5 more breaths. Of course, if you need to lower the foot sooner, go for it. Last couple of deep breaths. All right, and then when you're ready, lower the foot back down. And then crawl yourself to the front of the mat. You can unkickstand the left foot, and then downward facing dog, send the hips up and back. And then give the hips a little waggle side to side. Maybe pedal the heels, the knees. Check in with the hands as well. Make sure the distance between them feels appropriate for you. Awesome. And from downward facing dog, as you're ready, take an inhale, shift forward to plank pose. As you exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. We'll take a back bend, untuck the feet, inhale, breath, lift the chest up, and then pause here. Notice how much weight's going into the hands. Maybe you choose to make them a little bit lighter. And notice the neck here. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep the gaze mostly down. And stay here. Take one last inhale. And soften down. And tabletop, inhale, breath. And then pause here. Now from your tabletop, we'll extend the left foot to the back of the mat. And then take the left foot down to the bottom right. Start to tiptoe the left hand forward and then over to the right as well. That same option to lower the right elbow, to dip the head down. And you might even find you have a little more room. Breathe into that stretch through the whole left side. Awesome. With an inhale breath, slowly coming out the way you came in. And once both hands are under the shoulders, kicks down that right foot to the right, drop the left heel down, and then line up. Maybe it's the right hand to the right knee to the left foot, and see what you want to do with the left arm. Reach it up, maybe hand to hip. Now preparing for that side plank variation, flex that left foot strong, ground down through the right hand. With an inhale, lift the left leg. And then touch it down as you exhale. And try not to race the breath. Try to move nice and slow. And 4 more rounds. Once you finish the last one, pause, find your balance, and start to bring yourself up. Left hand to the left hip, right arm to the ceiling, deep inhale, and over towards the left. Now pause, maybe catch the head here. Breathe to the whole right side. When you're ready, lift yourself up. And then bring the hands down to the floor. And again, make sure you have room for yourself. So the right knee and the hands are kind of in a tabletop. The left leg is out to the left. Now preparing to lift the left leg up. So you might even spread the hands a little wider, especially if you felt a little unstable on the first side. And flex the left foot. With an inhale, lift the left leg up. And then check in here. See if there's anything you need to adjust. If you're leaning really far over, if that feels okay, go for it. If it's better to bend the knee, especially if you feel like you're cramping through the outside of that left leg. And then breathe here. Embrace the wobbles, soften anything you don't need. Awesome. And then lower that left foot down and crawl yourself forward. Downward facing dog, make your way there. And pedal it out. Any movement that you need to release. And then when you're ready from your down dog, inhale, breath, shift forward and lower all the way down. Untuck the feet, inhale, breath, cobra, and pause here. Keep the back of the neck long, keep the tops of the feet pressing down. Maybe lighten the hands, maybe hover them all together. And even here, see if the shoulders have started creeping up towards the ears. Maybe you can bring them down and give your neck a little more room. Last couple breaths. If the hands are off the floor, bring them down, slowly melt down. And then tabletop and hips to heels. Find your child's pose. You can have knees together, knees wide, arms forward or back. You can prop up the forehead here. You can prop up hips to heels. And take a moment to get comfortable and then settle in for about 8 breaths. And from your child's pose, as you feel ready to, any way you like, make your way back to downward facing dog. And once you arrive, pedal it out. Awesome. With an inhale breath, lift the right leg up behind you. And as you exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands. We'll stay in a lunge. Take a moment to find your balance here. You can widen your stance if you need. And then as you're ready, come on up. High crescent lunge. And check in for a moment. Find your balance. Settle the hips. Level them out as best you can. And then we'll find a movement here. So if it helps to shorten your stance a little bit, go for it. With an inhale, reach the arms to the ceiling. Extend the front leg towards straight. And then as you exhale, bend the right knee and twist towards the right, arms to a T. Inhale, breath, back to center, re-extend, reach. And then same side. 3 more. Final one. Pause in your twist. So keep the legs active, keep the arms reaching the chest pad. If you like to take the gaze back, go for it, and then breathe here. All right, you can keep the bend to the front knee, inhale, unravel, reach up, and then fingertips to the floor, step forward, forward fold. Whatever distance between the feet feels most comfortable, whatever bend to the knee feels the most supportive, and let the head hang, give the hips a little rock, give the head a little rock. And from here, hands to shins, inhale, halfway lift, and sigh it out. Twice more. Last one. Now to transition, halfway lift. And step the right foot to the back of the mat. Set up your lunge. Find your balance. With an inhale breath, start to lift your way up. And then as you arrive, check in. Keep the back foot really active energetically, that left hip guiding back. Inhale breath, reach the arms up, extend the front leg. And then exhale, twist left, bend the left knee. Inhale, center, reach, and twist. If balance is feeling wobbly, then you can keep your gaze towards the front the whole time. Final one, then we'll pause. So the next time you come into your twist towards the left, pause here and check in with the shoulders. Keep the chest proud, the palms reaching apart. Breathe. All right, inhale, breath, unravel, reach up, and then fingers to the floor, step forward, forward fold. When you feel ready to, hands to the shins, inhale, halfway lift, and sigh. And twice more. Last one. Now inhale, halfway lift, and plant the palms and step back, downward facing dog. And from your downward facing dog, lift the left leg up behind you. And as you exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. This time spin the right heel down to the floor. Right toes point right. Now stay on your hands and walk them forward a little. You can stay in kind of a tabletop shape, wrists under the shoulders, or keep walking the hands forward until it's more of like a downward dog shape for the upper body. And from here, you might lift the hips a little higher. That might allow you to hinge a little deeper. And notice where the pelvis is in space. If it's leaning way out towards the left, maybe think about hugging it a little bit back towards midline. And keep the feet anchoring down, pinky toe edge of the right, ball and heel of the left. And then when you're ready, start to walk the hands back in and locate your block if you're using one. We'll bring it kind of near the heel of the left foot. Bring the hand to the block, any height setting, extended side angle, reach that right arm up towards the ceiling. And then check in here with your shape. Check in from the feet to the fingertips. If there's anything you need to adjust, then go for it. Hands are reaching apart, feet stay grounded to the floor. Find that long line from the crown of the head down to that right heel. And then bring your gaze down towards the floor, right hand towards the right hip. Hop that right foot a little bit closer. We're setting for half moon, so take your block about a foot in front of the left foot. Again, any height setting here. And then start to transfer your weight forward in space, seesawing to lift that right leg up behind you. Now imagine you can lift and stack the right hip on top of the left. Think of those exercises we did from side plank earlier where we were pulsing the leg up. And then imagine you're using those same muscles to support yourself here. Right hand can stay at the hip or wherever it is. You can reach up towards the ceiling if you like. And then breathe here. Reach the hands apart. Stay strong. All right. Take one last inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lower that right foot all the way to the back of the mat. And then come on up, extend the front leg. Right hand to the right hip, reach the left arm high, inhale, and then arc back as you exhale. Right hand wherever is most supportive, so maybe it's on the leg, and maybe bend the left elbow. Find the stretch, the length through the whole left side. With a strong core, inhale breath, come on up, arms to a T. Pause. Now reach forward, lengthen, and then hinge for triangle. Left hand, shin, block floor. Right arm maybe to the ceiling, maybe to the hip. Notice where the pelvis is in space. Once again, keep hugging it back towards midline, so it might feel like pushing it a little bit towards the right, only if you feel like your bum is swinging out behind you. And then mindful of that right shoulder too. If there's a tendency for the shoulder to rotate inwards, maybe come a little closer to the jaw, and see what you can do to give your chest equal space on both sides. And from here, for the transition, reach the right arm towards the front of the room with an inhale, and then turn the chest to the floor, bend into that front knee, and lift the back heel up. Lower the right knee to the floor, and then heel toe the left foot to the left edge of the mat. Now we'll fold into our lizard, but first just take a check-in with the hips, see what feels good here. And then you can stay exactly as you are and dip the chest down towards the floor. You can walk the hands forward for this, the option to lower one or both elbows down, and to use your prop if you need to bring the floor a little bit closer. Always the option for lizard, if you do want to power it up, you're welcome to tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. If there's anything else you'd like to add on to the shape, go for it. We're here for about 8 breaths. And check in here. If you feel like you need a little more time, then stay. Otherwise, you can start to lift back up onto the hands and then swing that left leg back, come to your child's pose. If you need to shake it out, if there's something else you need along the way, then go for it. Take a moment to settle yourself in, add the support wherever you need it, any expression of the shape. Always the option if your body's asking for movement instead of stillness. You could take a few rounds of cat-cow. You can take a flow if that's part of your practice. You can also rest in any other quiet shape. And when you feel ready to, make your way back to downward facing dog any way you like to get there. And take a few breaths if you need to stop anywhere along the way. And from your downward facing dog, as you're ready, take an inhale, lift the right leg up behind you, and then step the right foot forward between the hands, spin the left heel to the floor. In that same version of Humble Warrior, start to walk the hands towards the top left corner and pause in the tabletop variation, more of a down dog variation. Maybe you're lifting the hips a little bit, letting the chest dip a little deeper, mindful of the body here, mindful of the hips, the knees, the low back. And find your expression and breathe into it. And then when you're ready, slowly walk the hands back in. Find your prop with the right hand and set it up. Extended side angle variation, left arm straight to the ceiling, to the hip. And I forgot to say it on the first side, always the option to do elbow to knee if the floor feels a little far away, even with a prop. And find that long line of energy from the left heel to the crown of the head, and reach the fingertips apart from one another. And when you're ready, you bring the left hand to the left hip, gaze towards the floor, hop the left foot a little closer, right hand a little further up the mat, and then transfer your weight forward to help you lift that left leg up off the floor. Roll open the hip as best you can, foot flex like it's stomping away, and find that length from the left heel to the crown of the head once again. Maybe left arm reaches up, reach the arms apart. Breathe here. Breathe into that length through the right side of the torso. And stay here. One last inhale. And lower the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. And come on up. Extend the right leg. Left hand to the left hip. Inhale, reach up. And reverse triangle. Find your shape, your expression. Add on. Breathe through that whole right side. And press the feet down. Inhale, breath. Come on up. Find your T. And pause for a moment. Now reach forward. Inhale. And then hinge for triangle. Right hand, shin block floor. Left arm, hip or ceiling. And keep the length in the spine. And keep the space for the chest and the shoulders. Any adjustments you need to make, go for it. When you're ready to transition, left arm reaches forward, and then turn the chest towards the floor. Bend into the right knee, lift the left heel, lower the left knee down. And right foot to the right a few inches. Check in with this side, check in with the hips, the low back, and then find your folded lizard expression. So maybe hands forward, one or both elbows down. And this side may even feel a little bit different to the first, so don't worry if you need to set up differently. And find something that offers a similar feeling in the body. And slowly bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. And we'll exit a little bit differently on this side. So tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then step the left foot outside of the left hand, and finding a squat pose. So start to dip the hips towards the floor, and then see what version of squat you want to take. If the heels are having trouble touching the floor, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It might be more relaxing if you can relax them into something. So maybe a rolled up blanket. You can also play with the distance between the feet. Sometimes taking the feet a little farther apart might be better for the body. Feet a little closer together might offer a little more stretch for the ankles, so you might choose that as well. Now you can take the more traditional shape with the tall spine, the hands together. If you prefer, we'll take a slightly rounded shape here. So you might bring your hands down onto the floor, and then mindful of the low back, the knees, and the hips, bring the chin in towards the chest, and then start to round the upper back. Let the head hang really heavy here. And if you're rounding with me, you might even walk the hands forward a little bit. Breathing into that whole back line of the body, all along the spine. And then if you are rounded, slowly walk the hands back in, lift the head back up, and then fingertips to the floor, start to extend the legs, lift the hips, then you can heel toe the feet a little closer together. Maybe pedal that out a little bit, see what feels like a good release. Now I'm going to use my hard block for this as well. If you have two, you can use two. And find a halfway lift position, and then we'll cross the left leg behind the right. You might need to walk your hands to the right a little bit here. So legs are crossed, feet can be all the way together. It'll be pinky toe edges. You might keep a little distance, and you can keep a slight bend to the knees here as well. If this feels like plenty of a stretch, you can stay exactly here. Otherwise, if you like, you can hinge and fold over the legs. Notice what the hips are doing here. If they're tending to lean over to the left, then maybe you can hug them back to midline. It might help you target that stretch through the back and the outside of that left leg. And then using your breath as a guide. If you're finding the breath is getting a little choppy, maybe you're in too deep, you can come back to your halfway lift at any point. All right, as you're ready, come to a halfway lift, uncross the legs, hands back to center, and then we'll cross the other way, right leg behind the left. Maybe hands to the right or to the left a little bit. Inhale, breath, lengthen, and then gently hinge your way forward. Find your expression. Notice the hips here. Notice especially that right leg, and breathe into whatever you're feeling. Awesome. Halfway lift as you're ready. Uncross the legs. Walk everything back to center. And then lower the hands behind you. And start to bend the knees, and we'll bring the bum down to the floor. And then as you arrive, see what feels like a good release from that. Maybe you want to windshield the knees side to side a few times. Awesome. And then from here, feet to the floor, walk them a little closer, and then we'll lower down onto the back. So just make sure that you have clear space behind you. You can come down quickly or slowly, maybe without the arms for more challenge. And then once you do touch down, take a moment to settle yourself in and walk the feet a little bit closer here, feet roughly underneath the knees. And then from here, find your robot arms, so elbows underneath the hands, elbows by the rib cage. And then notice the feet, notice the shoulders, and press them down into the floor. With an inhale breath, start to lift the pelvis up any amount. And then for your bridge pose, you can stay exactly here. If you like a more supportive version, maybe a block or two under the pelvis. If you want to add more chest stretch, you can walk the hands closer together, maybe bring the shoulders more underneath you so that you can interlace the hands. And then whatever you're doing, notice the shoulders and the feet. Keep pressing them towards the floor. Maybe chin lifts a little bit if you need more room for your windpipe. And then most importantly, breathe here. Imagine you can breathe into that whole front line of the body. We're going to stay here for up to 5 more breaths, but listen to your body. If you need to come out sooner, you can come out exactly how we came in and just pause on the spine or on the back when you arrive. And likewise, if you need a little more time, you're welcome to stay longer. But if you're ready to come out, releasing the arms first, the shoulders, slowly bring the spine down to the floor, and then take your feet a little further apart, rest the knees in together. Maybe the hands are on the body, maybe you want a gentle rock of the head side to side. As you feel ready, re-separate the knees and walk the feet back underneath them. And setting for a twist here, scoot the hips over to the left a few inches, and then bring the knees down towards the right. And you can do knees together or any other twist that you like. Arms can be a cactus or T-shape. I like to take the arms overhead as well, especially if you want just a little more stretch to that left-hand side. Reach the left arm up to the floor overhead. And then from here, gently tone the core and start to lift the legs back up to center. And scoot the hips to midline, then over to the right a few inches, and then let the knees lower down to the left. This side may feel a little different, so take your time to get set up and find the arm expression that feels best here. And staying connected to the breath and gently following it in and out of the body. From your twist, as you're ready, bring your knees back up to center and scoot the hips back to midline. We'll pause once again. This time, take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide apart. Let the knees open. And then, if the knees need a little more support, maybe some hard blocks, or you can make fists with your hands, one under each hip. Maybe with the support of the hands, slowly bring the knees back in together. Maybe take the feet wide, give the knees a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And the next time the knees come down towards the right, pause for a moment. If either knee needs support, feel free to add a block. If you want more sensation, maybe the right ankle over the left knee, provided everything stays quiet. And then releasing the right foot back to the floor if it's lifted. And windshield wiper the knees once again. This time, the next time the knees come down to the left, pause. And then check in here, add your support, maybe left ankle over the right knee. And releasing the left foot back down to the floor. One more time, windshield wiper the knees. And legs back to center, and check in here. If there's any last quiet shape or movement that your body's asking for, then go for it. Otherwise, as you feel ready, we'll set up for Shavasana. And just like at opening, choose the expression that feels the best in your body. Arms can be extended, legs can be extended or bent. And if for any reason being on your back right now doesn't feel good, then come onto your front, take child's pose. You can rest in a seated meditation. You can take legs up the wall. And find a shape that feels quiet and comforting. If there's anything you need to adjust with your body to let yourself settle in more, maybe removing glasses or untying hair, maybe adding a layer, or closing a curtain. And take your time, make yourself as comfy as you can. And then start to release your breath back to its natural inhale and exhale. And let the body start to get heavy. And gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Finding some gentle movement, giving the head a rock. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, wrists and ankles. And then bring one hand onto the heart space and the other hand on top. And together, a deep inhale, deep sigh, and twice more. Last one. And then rolling on to whichever side you have a little more room on. Pausing in a fetal position for a breath or two. And then with the support of the hands coming up and finding any comfortable seated position. Adding in any props that help you feel a little more comfy. And settle the hips, lengthen the spine, keep the shoulders nice and soft. And connect the hands in at the heart, maybe bow the chin in towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for practice. And if you have any questions, my name is Nicholas. Please reach out to me and enjoy the rest of your day.